June 11th, 2015. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 74 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall, and sitting next to me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
So we got a Triple Crown winner.
Yes,
that was
great.
Very exciting. Yep. Kind of a no doubt. He went to wire. A little bit at the end. It looked like he was losing some ground, but then he just took off.
Yeah. What do you think, before we get into all this, what do you think of the fact that, he runs all three races and he was the only horse that ran in all three?
I think that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that there should be some rule saying that, hey, horses have to compete more? You can't hold your horse for one race.
No, I don't think so. I know that some people argue that, but I mean, the best horses should run in each race. In other words, the races that a horse is suited for. Right. So if there's a horse that's better at the length for the Belmont Stakes, maybe he doesn't run in the Preakness or the Kentucky Derby.
Right. I agree with you. And we had a big discussion about this amongst friends. And I agree because I think it's like the Olympics, right? Like you're Carl Lewis and you're in the 100-meter and the 200-meter and the long jump. Mm-hmm. Well, you're probably competing against a guy in the long jump who that's all he does.
That's all he does, yeah.
And another guy who just does the 100. Right? You win all three of those and you can say, hey, I can do it all.
Yeah.
And the horse do the same way.
That's what the Triple Crown should be about.
Right.
Yeah.
And also I like the fact that, it only happens every so often.
Yeah. I remember last year California Chrome's owner was saying, the same horses should race in all three races.
Right.
No, I disagree.
No, he's wrong. That's just sour grapes.
Yeah.
So it was. Because if your horse is significantly better than everybody, it can beat them at all three.
Yeah. There you go.
So
that's the big thing. All right. So we have a little bit of news related to the Belmont. On the last episode, we talked about how there was a lawsuit filed against American Pharoah's owner, Ahmed Zayat, for $1.65 million. That lawsuit has been thrown out. If you recall, this guy, Howard Rabinski, was suing him for $1.65 million, claiming that Zayat owed him that for wagers that he made on Zayat's behalf at some offshore casinos. And it's been thrown out because the statute of limitations had run out, basically.
So if the statute of limitations had not expired, would there have been a legitimate suit, do you think?
Who knows? I mean, it seems so shady.
It's a good way for the judge to get out of it. Just like statute of limitations, sorry.
I know. And, I'm not a lawyer, but that to me is like such an easy way to get rid of a case, right? What are you talking about? This happened between 2003 and 2005.
Right.
And the statute of limitations is only 6 years, so we're way beyond that. Yeah.
So I wonder what the statute of limitations is for 6 years. What's the actual crime?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know it's a lawsuit, so it's not a crime.
Right.
It's a lawsuit,
it's a suit.
Right?
Yeah, we'd have to ask an attorney because you're not one.
I'm not one.
But I'd like to know that because, for murder, I assume there is no statute of limitations.
That's correct.
Right. But for a lawsuit, I mean, are there different kinds of suits? Like, if it's, medical malpractice, is there a statute of limitations on that? Or is there a statute of limitations just because it was gambling at 6 years?
Well, no, I don't think it had anything to do with gambling. I think it had to do with a contract, whether it was a verbal contract or whatever.
Right, okay.
We're about to move into areas that we know nothing about, and we're going to make ourselves look stupid if we continue to talk.
Well, that's the usual way this show goes.
Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. Another story related to the Belmont that I kind of think is interesting. So this came from USA Today. A Belmont spokesman said that there were a little over 94,000 $2 win tickets bet on American Pharoah. That's just $2 tickets, which is the minimum, right? So it doesn't count any other, wagers that were higher. A little over 94,000. Only just under 3,900 of those have been cashed in. Right. So we're looking at about 90,000 of these tickets that were not cashed in.
Yeah, people want to have a memento.
Right. They want a souvenir like I did last year. I bought a $2 ticket on California.
You were an idiot.
We were in Vegas. So it's the same. It's redundant.
Well, you still have that ticket. You can say, this is the guy that whined and complained.
That's right. So that's what people are doing. They're keeping them for souvenirs, obviously. Sure. It's great for the track because they just have this windfall.
Right. It's a huge amount of money.
$300,000, that they don't have to pay out to anybody. Now, people can cash them in up until March of next year.
Okay.
So they can't, write it off the books yet, right? But
yeah, well, you know what you would do if you had won your ticket? I guarantee you would have cashed it in, but before you cashed it in, you would have taken a photo of it.
Well, no,
and you would have kept the photo.
No, I bought a $2 ticket and then I bought a $100 ticket too.
I know, but if I just had that $2 ticket, I'd just take a photo of it.
Well, what some people are doing are going onto eBay and trying to sell these things.
Oh, bozos.
Which I think is so great. And if you go onto eBay, just do a search, you'll see some of them are listed for hundreds of dollars.
What? I mean, so what? You got a ticket. You could have bought it at, Sequan out here, right? One of our local.
Right. I mean, that's true. But I imagine that if it's from, the Belmont Stakes, you're actually there.
Right.
It's
if it has
be
the
worth
track
a little
name
bit more.
at the top.
Yeah, exactly. But, so they're being listed outrageously. I've seen where some have sold for like $20 or $30, which is about 10 times what they're worth if you just went and cashed them in at the track.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know.
You know what I did? I copied one of the tickets. They had it online. I just copied the ticket and then photoshopped in, just a Belmont ticket, right?
Yeah.
And then photoshopped in American Pharoah, made it look legit, printed it up.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to sell it online for $100.
Oh, you should frame it. That might be worth something someday. Yeah, you should frame it.
I wonder how many of them are fake.
Yeah, that is a good point, right?
How do you know it's the real ticket?
How do you know without cashing it in, right? Or at least going to the track and saying, is this legit?
Is this legit?
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
Yeah, it'd be easy to Photoshop one and then just, I bought this ticket for $100. It's worth nothing because it's fake.
That's a good point to think about that.
The FBI is going to look into that sports memorabilia thing that they had a few years back. Right. Yeah, they're going to look into this now.
Yeah. I did read that tickets for Affirmed, the last Triple Crown winner, those $2 tickets are going for, like thousands of dollars because it's been so long.
Right.
So I don't know if these people hang on to these tickets, it might be worth something. But you're right. I mean, how can you tell whether or not it's a counterfeit there? It's on these crummy pieces of paper. Yeah. I mean, if you look on the back, it should have that imprint from the track or from wherever you got it.
Yeah, but
right?
they can counterfeit anything nowadays. I mean, if you really want to counterfeit stuff, they can counterfeit anything. I mean, they counterfeit football tickets for games.
Sure.
And they have holograms on them and stuff. And they'll counterfeit those and sell it. And then when the guy goes, they scan it, it's like, oh, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you just paid, $500 for the ticket.
That's true. These, as far as counterfeiting things go, these would be easier than most things.
Way easier, yeah.
That's true. Some other news. So this story came out of Lake Tahoe. At Harrah's Lake Tahoe, there was this gambler who'd won about $70,000, and he was walking to the elevator, I guess back to his room, and he accidentally dropped a bundle of $100 bills.
It can happen. It can happen. Yeah. Just accidentally dropped $10,000.
Yep. He dropped, it's probably two piles of 5,000. That's usually how they wrap them up.
They
like
usually
that,
do,
right?
Yeah.
But he dropped $10,000 on the floor. Well, surveillance video caught one of the janitorial workers. His name's Richard Ferrer. They caught him on camera noticing the money on the floor at about 1 a.m.
Hard not to notice $10,000.
Exactly. And instead of, picking it up or turning it in, he swept it into his dust bin and then walked around the casino floor for a little while and went to the employee break room.
Yeah, and the whole time he's walking in his brain, he's like, do I take it? Do I turn it in? Do I take it? Do I turn it in? What do I do? Do I take it? Do I turn it in?
Well, he was finally confronted by security, and he said that, yes, he had taken the money, and he told them about a garbage can where he had stashed it. And it was there.
Nice. He was protecting it.
He was protecting the money, right?
Yeah.
So
always a good thing to do.
They went to the can and they found all the money except for $100. He told security that he had intended to turn in the money over to his supervisor at his next break, except for that $100, which he did plan to keep for himself.
I'll tell you what. I think if you found $10,000, they would excuse you if you didn't wait for your break. If you just went straight to the security or the supervisor and said, "Hey, I found $10,000."
Yeah.
What's the deal? Wait for your next break.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the janitorial union if they maybe have rules about that, but I don't really
You're
know.
not in the union?
What I love, well, so anyway, he got arrested. He's being held in lieu of $25,000 bail.
God.
I think it's funny though that, I took it, but I was going to give it back, except for that 100. Yeah, I was going to keep that 100 for myself.
What's funny, he's a casino employee.
Yeah. Well,
right?
It's a contract.
So,
it's like a contract janitorial firm, right?
But he in essence, works for a company that works for the casino.
Right.
So he probably is aware that they have security surveillance everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? I'm assuming he knows that.
I don't know.
So I'm assuming that he thinks to himself, well, if a guy loses $10,000, he's probably going to go looking for it. And the first thing he's going to do is contact security. They're going to see footage of him dropping it, see footage of him, this guy picking it up. Maybe the best thing to do would be to turn it in. And so I don't get in trouble. And maybe guy gives me a tip or something. Right?
Yeah. Now you're not in trouble and maybe you get a little money
Maybe you get a little money out
Yeah.
of it. I mean, but to turn it in and then say, oh, I was going to turn it all but 100. So he was giving himself a tip.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's so lame because in the trash can, you know what he was doing? He took the 100 for, liquor that night.
Right.
Because liquor's always involved in stuff like this. Liquor was involved when the guy dropped it. Liquor was involved when the guy picked it up.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, he wanted liquor that night, so he took 100.
Yep.
The rest in the trash can because he's probably the guy that empties the trash can again the next time, right?
Right. It's not going anywhere. Well, it's funny because this topic has come up several times on the show, right?
Right.
People say, what would you do if you found money, that kind of thing.
Right.
And we had some initial opinions about what you should do. But, a lot of this is funneling into if you find money or a chip, the right thing to do is turn it in,
right.
It's good karma. It's the law.
Yeah. And unless, especially if you're not liquored up, I mean, make the wise decision.
Yeah. Hey, so last week we went to a poker tournament for our good friend Dave, and I think you were really going to try to make a run for it. How did it go for you?
I said I was.
Yeah.
It didn't go well.
No?
You know what was funny is the first hour or so, I was getting decent hands.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't getting great hands, but I was holding my own. But boy, after the break, when there were no more buy-ins, and I didn't have to buy in.
Yeah. So again, this was a hold'em tournament, no limit, with unlimited buy-ins within the first hour, and then an add-on right at that first hour break,
Right.
and then, play to the end. Yeah.
Right. But, I didn't have to do any add-ons. I mean, I didn't have to do any buy-ins.
Yeah.
I did one because it's a smart thing to do.
Right, because as soon as you're under your initial $100 in chips that you have,
Yeah,
if you just post a blind and you're out, you're under and you can do a
And
buy-in.
that's what
It's
I
smart
did.
to do
and
right away.
bought
I did
it,
the same
so
thing.
I get
yeah.
extra money.
Yeah.
But I never had to buy in. I mean, even if I hadn't have done that, I would have never ran out of my 100.
Yeah.
I did the add-on. But then after that, I couldn't get a hand if my life depended on it. And then the couple times I did go in, it was second best.
Yeah.
So
Well, now it's funny because you and I were sitting right next to each other at that first
for the
table.
first hour, yeah.
Right, for that first hour. That turned out to be a great table for both of us. For me, because I was getting cards.
Right.
And I don't know if people weren't believing me or what.
Well, there was one guy that wasn't believing you and donated a bunch of money. I mean, seriously, all your money came from that one guy.
Yeah, well, that's true. But also a lot of it came from Bill, our good friend Bill, who we play with in our home game.
Yeah,
who,
he did
I
donate.
don't know why he thought I was trying to make a move.
No,
but,
because he certainly knows that you're not doing that.
but anyway, with all the buy-ins at our table, there were more chips on our table at the other tables. And I was just getting cards. That was what it came down. You told me later, though, that you were running some things through because people it was easy to run over the table.
Oh, it was easy to run over the table. Oh, they were terrible. I mean, I had 3 hands in a row that I won, and I was running crap through.
Yeah.
After the first one, I thought, I'm going to do this again next hand.
Yeah.
And I did it. And then the third one, then I thought to myself, I can't do it 4 times. That'd be like finding $10,000 on the floor and keeping it.
You don't want to do that.
You don't want to
That's
press
crazy.
your luck.
No, exactly. Well, I did very well at that table and was the chip leader at the break. And I was able to take that to a 4th place finish. I kind of went card dead too, but I had so many chips I was able to survive.
Survive it well.
I had I put some bad beats on people, but I didn't get bad beat.
Yeah.
So that helped.
And I don't know that I got bad beat either, really.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I can't claim any hand was, that's a terrible beat.
Yeah.
Where somebody did something stupid. It's just when I had a hand, somebody else had a little better hand. I just ran up against good hands.
Yeah.
And that crippled me. And then at the end, it was like I just had to throw in.
Yeah.
So.
But another great tournament. And I was lucky to get in 4th. I did squeeze through with a marginal hand. And then towards the end, Dave's structure is such that it ends pretty quickly. The blinds go up pretty quickly. When I finally had to go in, I was the big blind for half my stack. So, of course, I just went in. I had like 6-4 and, just couldn't
It's
survive,
actually not a bad, I know some people, I've heard people complain about that, but it's not a bad format for a home game because the beginning goes slow that everyone gets a chance to play for a few hours.
Right.
I mean, everyone's playing for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Right. So you're having fun. And then towards the end, it's getting late at night. You want it to go fast.
Yeah.
I mean,
agree.
you want people to fold and get out.
Yeah. So another good tournament. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, when you're going to buy something through Amazon, go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. That way, when you make a purchase, We get a little kickback that helps cover the costs of hosting the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You'll pay the same price just like normal. Last episode, we got a question about, hey, is there any more dollar blackjack in Las Vegas? And we actually got responses from several listeners pointing us to Binion's.
Oh.
And Binion's has this deal going now where every Thursday, they call it Throwback Thursday, every Thursday between noon and midnight, they have 4 tables specifically set aside for dollar blackjack. Now, they didn't say what the rules were, if it's 3-2 or 6-5 or even money or if there's a vig or anything like that. It just says they've got dollar blackjack. Right. I'm hoping that since it's Binion's, there's no vig. And
I would hope.
At least 6-5. I can't believe I'm saying that. You know, to think that it might be 3-2, I don't know if they would do that in this day and age, but it'd be great if it was.
Binion would do it.
Oh, in a second he'd do it. Yeah, that's right. It's funny because I was looking at their Facebook post, right? And it says, not sure how long they will do this, so come on down and check it out. This is their Facebook social media
So who are
person.
they talking about?
I know, it's not, I don't know how long we'll be doing this. It's not sure how long they will do this. So.
It's like the media guy is like voice recording the thing for somebody else to transcribe. And then he got to the end, he forgot to press stop, and I'm not sure how long they'll do this, but what the hell? Let's give it a try.
That could be.
And then the person just transcribed it into their, into their page.
Yeah, the social media person probably just saw the poster up there. Oh, I guess I should report this. Nobody's told me anything about it. I guess I should support it. Yeah, I'll report it. Oh, I also got an email from Adam. Last episode, we were saying, hey, is there any casino that has both the fire bet and the features bet on the craps table? All tall, all small, all nothing at all. Adam said, yes, they do have it at the Ameristar Casino in Kansas City.
Huh.
So at least there's one out there. So it must not be a licensing
I'd like to see
issue.
that table.
I know, yeah.
Because it's got to be pretty crowded.
It must be crowded. You'd only last about 10 minutes on there making all those stupid bets.
Oh, it'd kill me, right? Yeah, I'd buy in for, 5,000 and the first 1,000 would go on stupid bets.
Yep, exactly. And we got an email from Fred. Last episode, we were thinking about the free throw tournament that they had in Atlantic City, and we were guessing that maybe a professional, quote unquote, free throw shooter had won. But
I don't know what that means, professional.
Yeah, that's why we always quote it. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody who does it a lot. But Fred said no, it was a first grade teacher who won. So
a lot of practice.
That was good. Yeah, that's right.
His class is just another hour. We're going to shoot some free throws, kids.
That's right.
Line up behind me.
All right. Now you see, this is an art. It's like, aren't we studying geometry?
When I miss, you can have your turn, Johnny. Just calm down.
All right. We got an email from Alex. Let me read to you. He was asking about ways to get diamond in a day. What is the best, cheapest, quickest way to get diamond status in a day at Caesars properties? I've heard strategies like betting red and black and 0 on roulette is a pretty cheap way to go. But I would think pass and don't pass simultaneously would be better than that. Also, I've heard that letting the floor know you are trying for diamond in a day will make them track you truer and more generously. Okay, so diamond is the second highest status that you can attain through the Caesars Total Rewards Players Club program.
You need 15,000 tier credits,
you need
I believe?
15,000 tier credits, correct.
Right, to get the lowest level of diamond.
Of diamond, right. And diamond does kind of bump you up to some nice amenities. You can check in at the diamond check-in, and there's a diamond lounge. And so, that's kind of nice. Yeah, 15,000 tier credits to become diamond. Now, their current promotion going on at least through the rest of the year is that if you earn 5,000 tier credits in one day, they'll give you a bonus 10,000 tier credits. So that'll be a total of 15,000, and you'll have diamond in one day.
Yeah, so that's not bad.
That's not bad. So the goal here is 5,000 tier credits in one day. That's the magic number. Okay. I wrote back to Alex and said, unfortunately, the rating that you get at table games at Caesars is just so wildly different depending on the staff that's working, the game you're playing, the property you're on. It's just so inconsistent.
Oh, it's terrible.
So I can't recommend playing one type of table game versus another. His argument is...
It would really depend on the pit.
Yes.
Right? I mean, because you seriously can have some pit people who rate you way better than other people for whatever reason. Right. I don't know what that is. They like you or they just do that for everybody, but we've seen that a lot.
Yeah. And so I suggested to Alex, try one of the systems that you want to, like on roulette or craps. And after about a half hour, ask the pit, hey, how many tier credits have I earned? And if it makes sense, if he gives you a figure that's like, okay, well, I only have to play 4 more hours or 5 more hours or whatever.
Continue.
Then go for it. I'm guessing it's not. I'm guessing you're going to ask and they're going to say, oh, you've earned 150. Something like that after a half hour, and it's just not going to be worth it for you.
Yeah, yeah, and depending on how it's going.
Right.
Of course.
What we would suggest, anybody who says, what's the best way to get diamond in a day? We would suggest playing video poker.
Yeah.
Find a video poker machine with like a 99% payback or better. Make sure you know the game, right? Find a machine. When you play video poker, you get 1 tier credit for every $10 that you play through. So your coin in would need to be $50,000 to get 5,000 tier credits.
Right. Your coin in, that's an important distinction versus, the total amount of money that you have in your pocket.
Right. Or that you've won or lost, right? It's really just coin in. Okay. So if we're talking about a dollar machine, which typically would be 5 coin per hand, right?
Right.
That means $5 a hand. So you would have to play 10,000 hands on a dollar machine, playing 5 coin in. That you might be able to get through that in about 8 hours or less, depending on how good you are at the game.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
If you jumped up to $5, you could do it faster, of course.
Right.
But
of course, you're taking a bigger risk.
Much bigger risk, right? Your volatility is going to go up, and you could, lose quite a bit of money, quicker. That's definitely true. That would be our suggestion. Now, finding a 99% or higher payback on a Caesars video poker machine is probably going to be pretty hard these days because they have decimated their Vegas pay tables.
Yeah, you're not going to find 9 to 6 on a jacks or better.
No, it'd be hard to find 8-5 bonus or anything like that. Yeah. Maybe if you do jump up to the $5, if you're willing to play a $5 machine, which would mean $25 a hand, you probably could find some 9-6 jacks or better, in some of the high limit rooms. But again, your risk definitely increases. So that's what we would suggest for diamond in the day.
That would be the most, how should I put this, structured way to get your diamond in a day. Because you'd know exactly where you are. Yep. And you could check it. You could even look on the machine.
Look on the machine. You wouldn't have to count down 10,000 hands. Just look at how many tier credits you've earned.
Just keep looking at the machine. Yeah. Playing on a table is so unstructured and so random. You could think you're doing great and then ask the guy, oh yeah, you got 200 tier credits, and be like, what? I've been here 2 hours.
I know. And then what if during the shift change, the pit is new, right? Then, do they do it differently?
Or when they go on break, just not even the change of shift, just the break time, right? Guy goes on break, the next guy coming in might not be paying attention. You would have to be on them. You would have to be on them and say, look, this is what I'm doing.
And would that make them mad? I tend to agree that if you let them know that's what you're trying to do, they might help you out, but they might not too. If they see you doing a do don't, pass line and don't pass, some pit may hate that, right? They might think, he's just trying to get a rating. I'll show him, right? They're human, right?
Right, exactly.
The video poker machines, they're not human, so
you're probably better off on the video poker.
Yeah. All right. So Alex went on to say in his email, "Can you please stop mentioning that Mark programmed the app that aggregates the gambling television shows? It drives me insane that you mention this. Figuring out how to use RSS is not rocket science, and that you mention this every show just drives me douche chills. Don't know why it is a pet peeve, but it makes me want to break my phone and ends the show on a horrible note."
Okay.
All right. I can see how maybe this sounds like I'm bragging when I say, oh, I wrote it myself. It's all me. But really, the point that I was trying to make, and I try to make when I say this, is these are TV listings that you're not going to find anywhere else, right?
Right.
We create these from scratch.
Right.
Now, what does that mean? And let me kind of explain it. Maybe this will be my way of kind of bragging about what I do, but
we should note that Mark does this for a living. So, I'm a computer programmer for a living, yeah. Yeah, but this stuff is not terribly hard for you to figure out.
No,
for me, it'd be impossible.
Yeah, the script isn't that sophisticated, but it's complete and it does a lot.
But I mean, for you, it's not really anything to brag about.
Right.
You design software that's a lot more complicated.
Yeah, if I were talking to somebody who also does computer programming, I told them what I did. It's like, oh yeah,
good for you.
Everybody can do that. Yeah, but I want to let everybody know what I go through. So I don't use RSS feeds. What I do is I subscribe to a service. Anybody can subscribe to this service. It's called Schedules Direct. This service provides American TV listings as very raw data. And what a lot of people use this for, because it comes in, it really is raw data, the name of the show and who's on it, how long it goes, when it airs, that kind of thing. It's not real human friendly to look at when you get this data. Uh-huh. A lot of people use this service if they have homemade DVRs. Maybe they don't want to pay for a DVR service through their cable company or whatever. I gotcha. So they basically make a DVR on their computer. Uh-huh. But what DVRs need are TV listings in order to work, right? Okay. So this is a service that allows you to get these TV listings, right? So anyway, these raw data are delivered to me in the form of a huge XML file. It's a big text file. It has information on every program on virtually every American TV network for the next 2 weeks. Now, XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. It's just a big text file. It's very similar to HTML, which is, anybody who's worked on a web page know HTML is basically the language of the web.
You lost me when you started.
All right. So that's fine. That's as complicated as this explanation is going to get. Okay. The script that I wrote is a Perl script that searches through all these programs. It searches through everything, every single of these 1,000 programs coming up in the next 2 weeks, looking for things gambling related. Perl is a real good programming language for dealing with text, reading text and interpreting text and manipulating text. And that's all that this XML file is. My script searches for all sorts of things, anything gambling, Vegas, blackjack, Steve Wynn, roulette. It searches for the word thoroughbred. I look for specific shows like Pawn Stars, which, the definition doesn't say Vegas or gambling in it, but it takes place in Vegas, right? So I search specifically for that. I look for any description that has the word bet in it, right? So you can imagine how, many things are going to come up, right?
Do you have something that searches for why I wager?
I search for wager.
You search for wager?
I do search for wager, yeah.
You put on there, why wager? Just see if anything ever comes up.
All right, I'll see if that comes up. Anyway, in other words, it looks for a lot more than you could program on your DVR at home, right? You could program for Vegas and gambling and that kind of thing. This looks for tons of stuff. Finally, and this is where I do the most work, I look at the results of this script manually. I just open up this new text file that the script has generated, and I just delete everything that I don't think is appropriate. So, again, most shows that have the word bet in their description really aren't gambling related, right? Joey bet Carol that he could do more push-ups. That's, it's just, that's in the show, right? It's not. So I go through this and it's very subjective. Sometimes I'll find a rerun of a show. It's like, oh, should I put that in there? Oh, maybe I will, because I don't think I've put it in the listings before, and it's kind of interesting. And other things, it's Vegas related, but it's an old Brady Bunch episode or something. So actually the script, looks for old stuff like that. I know that episode, the one where Alice talks about going to Vegas with Sam, the butcher. What? Yeah. All right, I must have missed that one. Anyway, so and then when I'm all done with that, then I format it and then I put it up on the web. So the bottom line is, you're not going to get these anywhere else. I think what I'll start doing, because I do agree, it's a script I wrote myself. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to say, we update these listings every Wednesday using a customized program to search through all the raw American TV data. Right? So when you say we, is it going to be me and you? Yeah, you're getting credit for it too. Oh, nice. See, I like this. Yeah, that way then it's not a big ego thing for me. Right. Thanks, Alex. I get thrown in here. And I'm the most illiterate computer person. Oh, yeah, you're terrible. I have to have the girls at work do my stuff. Like an old man. I have to have my wife do the stuff for me. You're like an old man. I am an old man. There you go. Hey, let's go to our voicemail hotline. Don't forget to call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS. 9512-WAGERS. And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. Last episode, we were talking about how it looks like skill-based slots are on their way to Nevada casinos. And skill-based could be, you play a video game to try to get bonuses or pinball, something like that. We got a call from Steve, and at the end here, he asked a question about that.
Hey guys, this is Steve from New York. Just fun over to your recent podcast, and I want to tell you guys, number one, I love you guys. You guys are great. I look forward to listening to you guys every week. The interaction between the two of you guys is great. You guys sound like you're having a blast, and I think it makes the listeners have more fun and enjoy it more when you guys do that. So thank you much for that, and I hope you continue to do it. There's a question you guys had thrown out there as to why you do wagers. I think for me, the number one reason is because my wife hates it. No, I'm only kidding. I'll admit, I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. I ride motorcycles, I fly helicopters. My job is extremely stressful. I have a lot of adrenaline in my job. So I think for me, it's more of that escape from the reality, the kind of, is there milk in the fridge? Does the kid have soccer practice? I got to send a check out for the car note. And just when you're gambling with your friends, you just have that, I don't kind of care about that stuff, even though you obviously have to. But you don't care about that stuff. You're not thinking about it. You're just out there having a good time, having a few drinks with some friends. And who knows, you might go home with some extra money at the end of the night. So for me, that's why I do wagers. But the question I have for you guys is about these skill-based slot machines. Now, let's say for argument's sake, the average payback for an average player would be, 92%, let's say. And you have a really horrible player playing at, let's say, 80%. Now, if you played perfectly and you were a master of that game, the top percentage you would probably be able to get, let's say, is 98. Obviously, it's not going to be over 100%. But considering that the players that would be very, very bad and playing, let's say, 80%, the machine would kind of have to catch up to that average of 92% because that's the payback. So do you think it's possible that these games could have a positive EV based on how the other players play the game? I wonder, and just let me know what your thoughts on that are, guys. Thanks very much. Look forward to every week again. Like I said, you guys are doing a great job. Have fun, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, well,
because I understand his point. It's like you got to make up for the really bad players.
Yeah.
My first thought was, how long are the very bad players going to play a skill-based machine?
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
Seriously.
Yeah,
somebody plays a slot that they don't do good at. Just a regular slot machine.
Yeah.
And that night, for whatever reason, they don't do good at it. They tend not to go back to that slot.
Yeah.
That's why there's such a variety of slots. So on a skill-based slot, if somebody played it once and said, I didn't do very good at that, they probably wouldn't come back to it as much.
That's very possible.
So, it might be people who are good at that playing it only, and then, they can't all win, 98%, right?
Well, okay, but kind of getting back to Steve's question here, I don't think this will be the case that these skill-based slots will think to themselves, a real bad player has been playing for a while.
Oh, I'm going to pay out more.
Yeah, I'm going to pay out more to get to this, median 92% in Steve's example.
Right.
I really doubt that's going to happen. And we can use video poker as an example. You could argue, and I think Scott at Vital Vegas was arguing this, you could argue that we already have skill-based slots. They're video poker machines.
Right.
Right? It is skill-based.
Sure.
Now, when they post the payback, when it says like 98% payback on a video poker machine, that means with perfect play. So if somebody comes in and really doesn't know what they're doing and is playing at like 80%, the machine doesn't keep track of that. And then, give better hands to people to kind of raise that to get closer, to.
No, that just means that if everyone played perfectly, the machine would end up doling out 98%.
Right.
So in other words, because there are people who don't play perfectly, the casino's probably making more than 2%.
Oh, yes. There you go. Exactly.
They're making 4, 5, 6%,
right.
Whatever.
And I'm sure that's going to be the case with skill-based slots where it'll say, this is, 98% payback, but that's if you play the game perfectly. It's a Pac-Man game and you eat all the ghosts at maximum value and everything. It's 98%. Yeah. But yeah, really, exactly. When you're talking about players that might not be perfect, the
casino's going to make more money.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, that's why I think with video poker, a person can go up and not know they're playing properly.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Seriously, they may think, this is the right thing to do.
That's true.
In their mind and not know it.
Yeah.
And So when they lose, they're like, oh, okay, well, it just wasn't my night. But with a skill-based thing, like, if something came up and you had to play Pac-Man, they might think afterwards, well, I'm not very good at this, and then just never go back to it.
I think you're right, but that's why the slot companies have to make these games so good that even a bad player
is still
feels
intrigued.
Like he's done well. I'm playing pinball, right? Maybe he loses his ball right away, so he gets another free one, like happens on real pinball, right? It's like, oh, good, so even though it's, maybe that works against him, that he lost that ball, right? He's got another ball.
It's some kind of psychological thing they have to employ into the game itself to keep those people coming back. I'm sure they've thought of this.
And Steve was talking about why he does wagers. It's kind of an adrenaline rush for us too.
For both of us, I think it's adrenaline rush because we don't have. Now, I don't want this to sound bad.
All right.
We don't have a lot of real exciting things in our life. Like we don't skydive.
Oh, no, we don't do daredevil stuff. We don't do daredevil stuff.
I mean, our exciting stuff is, watching our kids do things.
Yeah, sure,
with our families.
We have excitement in our life, but not daredevil excitement.
Not daredevil type excitement. That's what I wanted to get. So this is like our daredevil excitement.
Yeah, exactly.
And one friend of mine who I used to work with, Gary, he mentioned to me once, he said, I don't know how you can stand it. How can you have $500 bet on one thing and then, you could lose it. And I'm like, Gary, you play the stock market like crazy. Right. And that's his form of excitement.
Yeah.
And, this is mine. My stock investments are more level headed. But my, betting on a hard six might be a little crazy.
Maybe a little crazy. Yeah. That's our excitement. Oh, thanks for the call, Steve. Very nice. Let's go to another call. On the last episode, 2 episodes ago, we were talking about baccarat and how they keep track of how much VIG you owe when you win by betting the bank.
Right.
And last week we got a question about, well, what if you run out of money? What if, you owe them VIG still and, you don't have money to pay?
You run like hell.
Well,
you just take off.
We were speculating that maybe the dealers watch out for that. And if you're making your last bet, they say, oh, you can't bet that much. You've got to pay your VIG. You have outstanding VIG or something like that. We got a call from Dave about that.
Hey guys, this is Dave from San Francisco. We met at last year's event. Anyway, I was calling in about the questions you've been asking about baccarat and commissions because baccarat, along with craps, are the 2 games I play the most. In last week's episode, you conjectured that if somebody is down to the felt with their last bet, the dealer will pull their commission out of that bet first. I've never seen that happen. And I think the reason why it doesn't happen is, at least with a lot of Asian gamblers, being told, sorry, I think you might be out of money, so I'm going to take out your commission now. It would probably be seen as a huge loss of face. And a casino, I think, would not want to alienate a customer in that way. Sometimes, it doesn't happen very often. Most gamblers, most baccarat players that I've seen, they do in fact want to pay their commissions. They don't want to try to get out of it. So that, they'll pull cash out of their pocket. Sometimes the floor person or pit boss, if the gambler does say, yeah, I'm really sorry, I'm completely tapped out. Sometimes I've seen floor people waive the commission. They'll just tell the dealer, go ahead, lock it up. It's kind of a gesture of, goodwill in a certain sense. It's something that is probably not costing the casino a lot of money, but will keep that player happy and then presumably continuing to play in that establishment. So anyway, another thing about paying commissions is I'm seeing more and more places, rather than marking up commissions with lammers that then need to be collected when the player leaves or at the end of every shoe, they will simply take the commission out of a winning bank bet when they pay it. So if somebody wins a $100 bank bet, it's a $5 commission, they will give them $100 and then take a $5 chip from them. Or if they don't have chip, if all they have is black chips, then they might just pay them $95 to give them some change. So that's a very convenient way to avoid all this issue about what if somebody goes bust and can't pay their commissions. Joel Zender has also done some studies about how by taking the commissions as you go, it actually speeds up the game. And that's his big thing. He's all about time and motion studies. the more hands you deal, the more profit a casino gets. Thanks a lot for the show, you guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to Vince this coming October. If I can, I will definitely be at any craps meetup you guys have. Thank you so much for the show and for everything you do. Take care.
Okay, well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. It definitely does make more sense. I like collecting the VIG when you get paid.
Well, I thought it was interesting that he said that they actually say that it's faster that way, because you and I were thinking that maybe it was faster to just keep track.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it would be faster to just collect as you go.
Right. Well, because the dealers are fast, right?
Yeah.
So they can whip out $95 real quick.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to ask somebody to pay, that's probably what slows the game down.
Yeah. Well, it does make sense that sometimes if people really did run out of money and they couldn't pay the VIG, the casino just says, oh, that's okay. They keep good customers. If it was a habitual player, who just every week, oh, I have no more money.
Right.
Then it's like, you're going to have to pay every time.
Right.
But yeah, if it's a regular customer and it's just an isolated thing, it's like, oh my gosh, I thought I had money to pay the VIG and I don't. Okay. Call the pit over. Yeah, lock it up. That's fine.
Yeah.
No
I'm
problem.
sure they want to keep you happy.
That's good PR. Yep. All right. Let's go to a call from Kevin.
Hi, this is Kevin from San Antonio. Love you guys' show. Quick question. What do you think of paying to keep up your come bets after if someone rolls a 7 on a come out? I hate when a hot shooter's on there and he hits a 7 on a come out and all the come bets come back and you got to work them back up. Is that how bad is that? How bad is the house advantage? And what do you think? Thank you.
Well, we had quite a conversation about this.
Yeah, this is a great question. Yeah. This is a great question. Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to think about this.
Well, let's set the stage first so people know what we're talking about, right?
Okay.
If you're a come better, and, you've made your pass line bet, a point's been established, then you make several come bets. Let's say maybe you get 3 or 4 come bets up there, and you've taken odds on it. And then the shooter makes his point, right? So the pass line wins, and now it's the come out roll again. Your come bets are still up there working. The odds on the come bets are not working. They're automatically off.
Unless you call them on.
Yeah, it's almost, I don't want to say a courtesy thing. It's just that everybody kind of wants a 7 on that come out roll. So the casino just automatically calls all odds and place bets off.
Correct.
Right?
But your flat bet on your come bets is still working.
That still has to be
so
working.
It can win or lose or have no decision.
Right. Now, like you said, you can say, oh, I want my odds to work on the come out roll. You can do that. Most people don't. You rarely see it. I've done it every once in a while.
You do it every once in a while.
I probably do it more than most people. Yeah. But anyway, here's what Kevin is saying. Let's say you've got all those come bets up there. Let's say you've got 4 come bets up there, $5 each with full odds, right? Okay. Now, the shooter rolls a 7. Pass line winner, you get paid. All your come bets lose. They will give you your odds back because, again, the odds are off. They can't win or lose. Okay. But what Kevin is saying is, the guy's on a hot roll. I kind of wish those come bets would stay up there.
Because he's hoping that the guy establishes a new point and then rolls those numbers again. He doesn't have to reestablish them.
Yeah.
That's his goal.
Right. And what the casino will let you do is they'll say, oh, do you want to leave these come bets up? And you could say yes and give him, in our example, $20. $5 for each of the 4 come bets and just replace them. They're bets that lost, but just replace them. Technically, those are put bets.
That's a
that
put
we've talked
bet.
About in the past, right? So you could leave them up there. So to answer Kevin's question, no, you should not do this. And then I'll let Mike talk about it. But no, you should not do this. And here's my argument, okay? If you go back up, okay, here's $20, put them back up. What if the next roll's a 7? Then you've got to do it again.
Right.
And here's what I'm saying. If you want to stay up on those numbers, wait until another point has been established, and then just place the numbers that you want to, because you're going to get paid better on a place bet than if you make put bets. Again, we're talking about put bets where it's like 5 times odds casino, right?
Right.
Ignore our past conversations about how sometimes put bets are better than place bets. We're talking about casinos where a put bet is definitely worse than a place bet. You're better off making place bets than replacing come bets that have lost. I want to make that clear because some of you may be thinking, Mark, you're crazy. Come bets have a lower house edge than place bets. Yes, that's true. But if you're talking about putting come bets directly on numbers, which in this case would be happening, you're better off just making place bets if you really want to replace those numbers that you come down off of.
Yeah, you have to make the distinction with the put bet, because if you are at a casino where it's better to put them, you could just let them come down and then put them back.
Only if you're taking, just to make it this conversation, only if you're taking 5 times or more odds on the bets.
Right.
If you're not taking more than, so let's not muddle the conversation. Let's just, assume that we're talking about lower odds than 5 times odds.
Okay. Now, my point is, if you are inclined to leave them up there, and I'm not saying you should.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of agree with Mark. Let them come down and then place them. Okay. But if for whatever reason you want to leave them, then I think what I would do is I would make like a 3-way 7 bet on the come out to cover my flat bets so that I could just leave them up.
So you'd win. Yeah. The 3-way 7 would win enough money to replace those.
So if, in your example, if I had 4 $5 flat bets, and with odds, my odds aren't working. I'm really interested in covering $20.
Yeah.
So I could make a $9 3-way 7 bet.
Uh-huh.
And if 7 comes up, so I would win $36.
Yeah.
So I could leave my $20 up there and I'd get $16 back.
Yeah.
And then I'd still be up there. My 7s would still be up there for the next roll. So I'm investing $9. If a number's made or a 7 doesn't come up, I've lost $9. So you're still losing money. I understand that. But I'm saying that, if you're really inclined, because say this guy's been on a super hot roll, then instead of letting him, lose and the 20, just make a $9.
See, but you're not answering Kevin's question. Kevin's question is, should I replace them? What you're saying is every come bet you should make a 3-way 7.
No.
Every come bet, every come out roll, you should make a 3-way 7.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if his thing was he wanted to keep him up there. Now, should he do that? I said no, like you. That answers his question. Just let them come down and then place them back.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But if your intent was not to do that, like for whatever reason, you hated place bets and you wanted to have come bets back there and it didn't make sense to put them up there, then just make a 3-way 7.
Yeah, but if you're making a 3-way 7 every come out roll, think of how many times that'll lose.
He's not saying every come out roll. He's just saying on this one guy who's been shooting really well.
Well, even so, okay, he's got a good roll.
He's not going to do it for every shooter.
Okay, but let's say it's a hot shooter. Still, it's still a terrible bet because, you do a 3-way 7 and then 11 comes up. A 3-way 7, a 2 comes up.
$9.
A 3-way 7 and then, a 9 comes up. He still loses that, right?
Yeah. You're telling me 2, 11, 9 comes up? That's ridiculous, Mark.
All right. My example might be a little far-fetched.
Yeah, it can happen.
Okay.
Bad things can happen.
Okay. So I think, though, honestly, it sounds like we're in agreement.
Yeah, we're in agreement that just let them come down.
Let them come. You're better off, certainly, if you're talking about house edge and math and what have you. We're not recommending that you replace them with place bets, but if you want to keep those numbers, making place bets is better than restoring your come bets.
Correct.
All right.
I don't know. We probably made it so complicated.
We shouldn't have gone on about, how put bets sometimes are better than place bets.
But we argued about this in the car for quite a while.
We went for so long.
My point, I'm coming from the more aggressive gambler to Mark's more conservative gambling.
Yep.
So I have no problem making, bets to cover my wagers. It's funny because you'll see a guy, and we were talking about this, you'll see a guy who's really conservative in the way he plays.
Yeah.
Right? But on the come out, they've got an any craps.
Yeah, right.
To protect that line bet.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. You're playing one time you're playing super aggressive by making an any craps bet.
Yeah.
And then after that you're like being super conservative.
Yeah. No, it's true. You
see that all the time. People kind of mix and they have different views about what they think they should cover.
Yeah. this was way too much. I'm going to edit out everything that we started saying after we stopped his call. Okay. I'm going to edit that all out and now I'm going to put the real answer. No, Kevin, we don't think you should replace your come bets. All right, let's move on to the next call. This call's from Adam.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike, it's Adam from Kansas. Just calling to give you a little update. I was doing some driving and found myself at Council Bluffs, Iowa. I stopped in at the Horseshoe. A pretty good casino. Some of the things to note, 100 times odds on craps. If you were playing 25 or more a hand or a throw, they comp alcohol drinks. They also had free bet blackjack and Spanish 21 and more slot machines than you could shake a stick at. I had a good couple hours while I was there, won some money, took it as a sign, and ran out the door. All right, guys. Have a good one. Later.
Good. All right. Good story, Adam. Good. It's
Now,
nice.
where is Council Bluffs?
It's in Iowa.
Yeah, but where in Iowa? Do you know?
Oh, no, I don't.
I'm going to have to look that up when I get home because my wife has lots of family in northern Iowa.
Oh, okay.
You know, and I was just wondering how far away that is. I know some of her relatives have gone down there to gamble.
Yeah.
I just wonder how long a drive that is. I'm going to try and check that out next time I'm there.
All right. That's good. Yeah. I bet that listeners may know, too. Don't bother calling in, though, folks. I think we can look this one up on our own.
I'll try and I'll ask my wife because she'll know.
Oh, she'll know, right? 100 times odds. I don't know why every casino doesn't have that because people don't take advantage of it. It's great PR. It makes it fun for us.
It looks great on a marquee, too.
Yeah.
You know, 100 times odds.
Yeah. And then he said 3-bet blackjack. I'm not sure if that's what I haven't heard of 3-bet blackjack. Maybe he meant that blackjack that's also 3-card poker, you know, where you use 3 cards.
I don't know. I haven't ever heard of anything referred to.
It's probably one of those
3-bet blackjack.
It sounds like a good place. Yeah, we might have to check it out.
Yeah, if it's not too far from the border there, I might do it.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Well, we got news this week that the event that we'll be participating in at VIMF is called Bingo. And what it will be is we'll be doing our podcast. Denton, Dallas, and Beyond will be doing their podcast. During these live podcasts, there's going to be a bingo game going on.
Okay.
The whole time, right? They're going to be calling out bingo numbers. We're going to be doing our show. There's going to be voices talking over each other. It's going to be perfect. Right?
Sounds a lot like what we do right now.
Exactly. All these distractions. This is going to be a lot of fun. So you will be able to attend our podcasts and also play bingo at the same time.
If you desire.
You don't need to, because this is going to be real bingo. They haven't gotten all the details ironed out yet, but it's going to be bingo where you pay for some bingo sheets and you actually play, and there are prizes. I don't know if it's money prizes or what it's going to be, but again, those are being ironed out. You don't have to do, if you want to just come and see our show, you don't have to pay to play bingo. You can just sit there and enjoy the show. It's funny, when I was
that was something I would never go to see us. I'd go to play bingo, but I mean, me personally, I would never go to see us.
It's great though, isn't it? Because it's like Keno when you're eating.
Yeah,
it's right. Bingo while you're listening to a podcast.
It's true. Perfect. It is kind of like Keno while you're eating.
It keeps you busy.
It keeps you occupied.
When I first told my wife about this, she thought that it was just going to be like in the casino bingo hall, right? You know, with all the regular players, right? And then now, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the front here. You can bet on that podcast. Nobody knows who we are, right? What? No, this is going to be in the D showroom. It's going to be all Vimpers. And, you know, you can play bingo if you want.
You can come with your friends and then not talk to them because you'll be playing bingo and listening to us.
That's right. It's a good way to spend time with your friends without having to interact with them. So, you know, we thought we'd take this opportunity then to talk about how bingo is played in casinos. Now, whether or not this is exactly how it's going to be at our event, we don't know yet. But bingo at a casino, it's similar to the bingo that you've played your whole life, but there are some differences.
Do kids play bingo anymore?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
They?
Oh, yeah.
I have to ask my daughters.
Yeah. I think everybody still plays bingo.
We used to play it in school.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, now they're probably, you know, trading $2 wagers on American Pharoah in school or something.
They're handicapping the races now.
They're handicapping races.
You know, it's a smarter youth than when we were youth.
Way smarter.
All right. So anyway, the game, it's pretty much the same. You get bingo cards. It says bingo across the top. There are 25 squares there that have different numbers in there.
It's still spelled B-I-N-G-O?
Yep, it's B-I-N-G-O.
Nice.
Yep. It's not, what was it in Spanish? It was like, Yo Tango or Lo Tango. Remember? It was
like that, yeah.
Anyway, it says bingo. Okay. Just like in bingo that you're used to, the very center square is a free square, right? It's in the N column, that third one down. That is a free square. Typically what you do when you go to a bingo hall, when you go in, you go up to the counter and you buy your bingo sheets. And generally they have different amounts that you can pay for a different number of sheets. You pay for a certain number of games. It really depends on what you want to do, how many games you want to play, how many sheets you want to have. You will then be given a bunch of different sheets, all with multiple bingo cards on them. That's typically the way it is. You're not usually just looking at one bingo card.
No, there's multiple cards on a sheet.
You're looking at a sheet.
It is crazy. You have to have like some kind of like idiot savant mind to
have
do
you
all those
done it?
shit.
Have you
I've done it.
I have too.
too.
I was surprised at how intense it is.
Oh, how hard it is. I mean, I'm crying. I'm halfway through. Tears are coming down my eyes. I'm crying. I'm like 5 numbers behind. And next to me is this like 90-year-old lady with like 48 daubers in her hand. And she's, she looks like Bruce Lee next to me, right? And I'm thinking, what the hell? I can't do this. I was like 30 years old then.
I know.
I couldn't.
It's true.
I couldn't focus on one card.
It's funny. I missed some too. I would go back and, oh my gosh, I'm looking at what had been called. I completely missed it. But anyway, you get all these sheets. So typically the sheets are color coded. So the color corresponds to a specific game you're playing.
Right.
So when you go in,
we're now playing the blue game.
Right. So you get your blue sheet out and it would have maybe 4 cards on it or 6 cards or 8 cards. Right. And you can get multiple sheets. Some people have tons of different sheets.
Yeah,
that they're
they'll have
playing
like
at the
6
same time.
sheets laid out.
Yeah, exactly. And when the bingo numbers are called, you mark them with a dauber. It's called a dauber. It's like just a big ink dauber. And typically the casinos don't give you these daubers for free. They're not just like available at the table. Typically you have to buy a dauber, bring your own dauber.
Yeah.
I've noticed that with kind of the senior citizen little old lady crowd, they usually have like naked Chippendale
You're right.
dancer daubers, stuff like that.
Right.
So,
they have like male anatomy dauber parts on the back of their dauber.
But you can get anything.
Like
They have a bunch of daubers. You can get them in all sorts of. You get a Star Wars dauber. You get a Harry Potter dauber. Anything you like. Right? So,
it's crazy. People are intense about this.
Oh, it really is. It's true. So you mark these off. Now, some of the games are typical bingo games like you used to play as a kid, where you're trying to make a straight line, either horizontally or vertically or diagonally. Sometimes that is the game. But other games, you have to make different shapes. Sometimes you have to make an X.
Right. And I think they have one that's an H where you got to go.
You got to like make an H. Right. Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Or like a blackout where you have to get rid of the whole,
it's usually
everything.
the last one's the blackout.
Yeah, right. And exactly. So you want to make sure that you know the game that you're playing. And that when you call out bingo, you really do have it. If you don't have it, it's okay. They come and check. And this happens all the time where people think they have bingo and maybe they think they're playing a different game.
Right. They accidentally marked a spot early on that shouldn't have been marked.
Right. Yes.
That's what happens.
Yeah. So anyway, you want to make sure that you've got the right sheet for the game you're playing. You want to know what pattern you want to make for the game you're playing. Okay. And then once you make your bingo, you yell out bingo, they check it out. And if it's valid, they'll give you your prize and then it'll move on to the next game. You get rid of that sheet. You just throw that sheet away and move on to the next sheet.
One person calls bingo and everyone else in the room is thinking, hope they screwed up. I hope they screwed up. I hope they screwed up.
Yeah.
And there's this big sigh after we have a correct bingo and everyone's
yeah, that's right. Yep, that's right. They do. A lot of places also have some jackpots that can be won in a lot of different ways. One way might be, let's say, it's the blackout game where you have to get rid of, all your spaces. And if you're able to black out in less than 50 balls being drawn,
right,
you win some big jackpot, right? Something like that. If you do it within a small number of balls being drawn, So, again, I don't know what we're going to be. I don't think we're going to have any jackpots at VIMP, but who knows?
Yeah,
we'll
never know. You know what's funny? I recommend this to everybody. Go play a bingo game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a gambler like us, we've done it. But, we would never do it now.
I don't know. I mean, now that I'm saying it, I kind of want to go back.
It's kind of fun. And you know what? It is crazy. I mean, I would go now with the idea that there's no way I can win because there's just too many old ladies out there who are way too good at this to me to even challenge them. Yeah. But it's so much fun. No matter what your game is, if you've never gone to a casino and played bingo, do it. It's a blast.
I think I want to now. I can't see you and I doing it together, but maybe I'll go with my family.
Yeah, because I know that's the thing. I went with like family. I went with a friend of mine and his wife. Yeah. They dragged me to it. And I don't know, it just occurred to me, if you saw this, it was like maybe a week or two ago in the paper here in San Diego, they had an article about at one of the casinos where a guy was arrested. I believe it was a man that got arrested because a woman sat in his favorite bingo chair. Did you see that?
I didn't see it, no.
It was like that spot he always sits in, right? And a woman was there and she refused to move when he said, that's my spot. Because, it's a chair. You can't say that. Well, anyway, he got mad at her and I guess after the bingo followed her out.
Oh, God.
And did something to her car, like, punctured her tires or something. And then she called the police. Anyway, he got arrested for it over a seat at a bingo thing. That's how serious these people take it.
All right. So be careful.
Yeah, be careful.
Go in a group. Don't go by yourself.
My advice is to get about 10 daubers, buy a bunch of sheets. You got to wear a goofy hat. Okay. That's a requirement. Yeah. That is a requirement. You got to have some goofy hat, something crocheted with little shiny things on it or something, right? If you're me, dye your hair blue.
Maybe mumble to yourself. Too.
Mumble to
not
yourself.
Too loud.
Yeah, not too loud. Just enough so they can't make out what you're saying. You're perfect at a bingo hole.
All right. Well, we sure hope to see all of you out at VIMP. Again, VIMP runs from October 16th through the 18th. Our show is going to be on the 18th. Bingo kicks off at 2:00 p.m. at the D showroom. We hope to see you there. We've made our plans now already. We're going to be getting in that Thursday night. Late.
Right.
So I don't know if we can meet up with people then, but we're getting in Thursday night. We're leaving Monday afternoon. So we're all set to go.
Yep.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode. Don't forget to check out these TV listings now. You go to our webpage, youcanbetonthat.com, and click on the link at the top of the page. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 951-2-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at You Can Bet On That. We always tweet when we're in a casino or on our way to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonThat.com. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review on us. When you do, it helps us get new listeners. What do you got for us, Dr. Mike?
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking, we're wasting our time going to Harris playing craps.
Mm-hmm.
What we need to do is start making some forged American Pharoah winning tickets, hit the bingo halls, sell them to bingo players. It's going to make a fortune.
It's a good idea.
We probably don't have to work anymore, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you want this,
That's right. We go around like we're selling hot dogs because maybe we could get away with that. Like we're working at the casino.
Right.
And then once we sell a hot dog, hey, you interested in this?
You interested in this? $20.
Uncashed. $20. Think
souvenir. You can sell it on the internet for $100.
That's smart. I don't know that we should be saying this in public on our podcast, but let's consider it.
Well, if they catch us doing it, we'll have to say, well, I found it in a trash can. And I was going to give them back, but I wanted to keep one for my buddies here at Bingo.
Yeah, okay.
How's that?
That'll probably work. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.